trucking on, and I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line, another town will do me fine. I'm trucking on, I'm trucking on.
Howdy, friends, and welcome to Truckin' On. I'm your host, Ward Richmond. I really appreciate you tuning in today, and I hope you enjoy the show. Cody Payne, what's happening, my brother?
What's up, man?
Great to have you here.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
We've been trying to get this scheduled for a while.
Yeah, you know, third time's a charm. Appreciate you having me out. Always enjoy talking with you, obviously. And I wanted to come on here and talk to you and just talk to you about life in general and see your place and see what you've been working on.
Heck yeah, appreciate that. Welcome to Truckin' On.
Trucking on, baby.
Here we are. Man, I'm so psyched to have you on the show. I remember, when did you join Colliers? Was it 2019?
It was right before COVID.
Was it 2020?
No, I think it was at the end of 19.
Yeah, end of 19. And you became well known in Colliers immediately for your LinkedIn posts. And you might have gotten in trouble.
Yeah, a few times. I don't call it trouble. It's just a slight hand slapping, just redirection of what my personality was. But interestingly enough, I never changed. You know, I was who I was before then, and I was who I was when I came in. But I think that the firm was set a certain way, and they did business a certain way, which is why me and the guys wanted to come there. But sometimes when you clash personalities and loud voices, sometimes people. I don't want to say are jealous, but just have to get used to it.
I was not jealous.
I know you weren't.
There were shit talkers, I won't lie, in the office. But you know what I said? I want to meet this guy because he's going to be one of the top producers in the office. Yeah. And that's what you are.
Yeah.
And I called it. It's just what I'm saying.
There you go.
Dude.
You willed it for me. I appreciate it.
You were just like, it was cracking me up. And I've had my hand slapped plenty of times. And doing the same thing. So when you were doing it, I'm like, we're kindred spirits. And because you're just like being yourself and you're not like some corporate robot. And that is actually a rarity in business, I think, that people just are their absolute authentic selves when they're presenting themselves in a business setting. And I think that goes a long way with me. So we became fast friends right away when you joined, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right when I walked in, you were very open. And you're right, especially in our business, it can be very corporate, especially with some of the stuff that we sell in the office sector is very, very corporate. But, I'm a big believer of using your personality for everything. And you don't know where the line is until you're about to cross it. So you got to figure out where that line is.
Yeah, that's right. Act now, beg for forgiveness later.
That's what I do. That's my motto.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to a client today, and he was talking about a former podcast guest, Brett Swango, who's with Colliers. I don't know if you've ever worked with Brett, but he does like analytics of everything. A lot of workforce analytics, but all kinds of analytics. And the general counsel at one of my clients, like, hey, I'd like to meet Brett, heard the podcast, and we'd like to analyze things. It's like, what do you want to analyze? Like everything. It's like, I prefer to just act now and analyze later. But anyway, I digress. Cody Payne, I want to find out, starting out here, what happened to you in your youth from age 12 to 22 that made you such a real estate phenom?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a real estate phenom. I mean, I'm in the progress, working every day, obviously. I try to get better every day, improve some way or another, but I had a great family, good father, great mother. Growing up, they instilled a lot of, hard work ethic in me, which, I always say I may not be the smartest, but I believe I can outwork anybody pretty easily. Went to a, regular Grand Prairie High School out there, on the north side. And,
which high school?
North.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was a gopher. But wasn't really active in a lot of stuff, but just wanted to work. And as soon as I turned 14, I was able to get a job at Winn-Dixie, and then just kind of progressed from there. And I just always enjoyed working, and I didn't like school. And so, when I got out of high school, I was selling cars for a very short amount of time. I wanted to do real estate because I felt like I could get in it without having to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got introduced to a guy when I was 18 in Arlington who gave me an opportunity and said he said he would hire me if I would go to college at night.
Hold on. We have to push pause and go back to high school.
Okay, sorry.
What else? You just worked at Winn-Dixie and went to class?
I did karate too. I did.
We were talking about that earlier.
I did karate for many years
Are you
when I was younger. No, but I've competed in many tournaments. I've practiced American karate, Korean taekwondo, Shadokan, Japanese taekwondo. I've done quite a few. So, and I competed pretty heavily. Actually, in my latter years, I want to say from 2014 to 2016, and I've got 5 karate championship medals. Actually,
amazing.
Yeah.
Do you hang them on the wall of the office?
No, I don't like to do intimidation that way. But I have them actually at the house hung up.
Yeah, you just intimidate with your presence.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the karate way.
Yeah.
I never did that. I wish I had. I think I did like when I was in kindergarten or something. But I just mentioned I went to the UFC fight last weekend.
There you go.
Watching those guys is so impressive. And they also display like a huge level of humility too. Well, you might think of them as just like these crazy fighter guys, but you can tell they just have worked so hard to get there that they're also, like you said, like they're workhorses. They're constantly having to sharpen their blades and just constantly get after it. So it's super impressive.
Yeah, and their opportunities don't come very often. Just like when I was competing, you could lose very quickly and you're done for the day. And all that practice and work you did was for nothing, it felt like.
How intense was it going to those competitions and being like head to head with someone? I mean, in the ring, I always played team sports, so I never really had that one-on-one aspect of sport.
I think it was actually very good for me because I've battled anxiety and panic attacks for a very long time, and nothing raises that than when you're about to get your ass kicked. And so going to some of those, I think, was actually good for me. But it was fun. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. My father went with me on a few and got to see a couple times what I'm capable of. And it was a good time. It was really good for me. And I was actually going to get back into it because of how the divisions are set is 36 and under and 36 and over. And now that I'm 36 and over, I can take on some of the older guys.
I like it.
Yeah.
I tried jiu-jitsu last summer. Or maybe 2 summers ago. COVID was kind of still creeping around here, but I kept tweaking things. It's
rough.
I'm 45 now, so I just don't want to. It's just tough to go do something with such a high risk for injury at this stage. I just prefer to do yoga and pray I don't get injured doing yoga. And jiu-jitsu, it's like I'm going to get injured. It's like riding a motorcycle. Like it's not if I'm going to crash, it's when I'm going to crash.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than getting put into a pretzel basically, and by someone much smaller than you, and there's nothing you can do, and you can't learn what they know fast enough.
Yeah, it's cool though. And it's funny you should say that about anxiety. I've struggled with anxiety.
Yeah.
I bet people walking down the street or the streets of LinkedIn would not maybe think that about either of us if, a glance. But then I just watched Conor McGregor's documentary going all the way back full circle to the UFC. And he said he started fighting to cope with his anxiety. And that basically... he just got in the ring and boom, the anxiety went away. Because he became so confident of being able to kick people's asses. I guess it helped him deal with that.
Yeah, it'll come back around though when you lose. I can tell you that.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. Have you seen the documentary on him?
I have, but I can tell you from experience too. It helped my confidence a lot until I took a big loss.
Yeah.
And it came back around.
Just like commercial real estate, baby.
Yeah.
That can kick you right in the nose and the teeth or whatever. All things. And you can be floating on cloud 9 1 minute and the next day you're just like hoping you're going to stay alive.
It's the biggest roller coaster ride and the biggest mental warfare, job, not of all jobs, but as far as sales jobs go, because you're only as good as your last paycheck.
So you graduated high school.
Yeah.
And didn't want to go to college.
No.
Respect. Now lots of kids it's more of a trend, but back then I think it was not, there weren't as many people like proactively not going to college so they can go be an entrepreneur. Like that's what you did.
Well, and I like to say I wasn't good at school, which is basically me just saying I'm not very smart. But I went and worked for a guy who had a small local shop in Arlington, and he needed agents. He kind of had trouble keeping agents, so I was able to get him to hire me. And I worked for him for a while, and I did the night school for a while. But I knew that all I had to do was make a certain amount of money, and then I could quit the school, and he wouldn't fire me. And so that was my goal there after that. And I think I made it, I don't know, a year or so. And
what was that? What was that gross figure? Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably 85, 100K gross maybe.
Yeah,
it wasn't a lot. But you got to keep in mind, this is 2005.
That is a lot.
In 2005, this could have bought you the Backstreet Boys and, football stadium. It could have got you a lot of stuff. Now it doesn't get you a red box.
I started in 2006 and I was 27 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I grossed $70K. So there you go. Put that in perspective. How old were you? 18 and you're grossing 8,500?
Yeah. No, I don't think I did that until year 2. My year 1, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Super impressive. And then, so anything else you want to touch on in your formative youth or?
No, I just, I've just always carried a lot of what I call, controlled rage and controlled motivation from, maybe if somebody, picked on me or said something I didn't like in high school, I've just always carried it even to today,
Mm-hmm.
I've just always been out to prove
that chip.
Whoever wrong, and a lot of times I have to make up somebody to prove wrong just to keep me going. But, just like whenever I was doing karate, if I was in a tournament or something, I'd have to act, I'd have to convince myself this guy just beat my mom up, and so now I have to take revenge. And so I have to put myself in those mindsets, pretty much every day, unfortunately.
Man, we have a lot in common, and I was like that as well. I had a chip on my shoulder, like through high school, through college, always just like operating that way all the way until recent years, really. And I feel like it's will it ever go away? Like 100%? Probably not. But I'm consciously working on how do I operate without having to rely on the old trustworthy chip on my shoulder that's generated lots of success for me. But I'm starting to rethink, is that the most efficient way that will bring me the most joy while reaching levels of success? And so I've been like, that's like what got me into yoga and meditation. And I'm not studying martial arts, but I've started studying the art of Zen, which has been very interesting about that kind of mindset. And like, so something to think about. I think it works, but I think there's a better way to do it. I don't know what that is, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, I don't think it's the best way. I mean, having my mindset's not for everybody. And I think, once you get a family and kids and, certain stages of life progress, your motivation comes from other levels.
Yeah.
Mine right now is to just be known as the guy for, office and industrial out here on the investment side, continuously to take down other people in our industry that do what I do. And to just, keep the guys that work with me on fire, moving forward, having success as well. Those are literally the only things I care about right now in my life.
Love it. So you worked for this gentleman in Grand Prairie for how long?
So he's in Arlington. I worked for him for about 10 years. And then I went to Marcus and Millichap for 5. And then that's whenever I came to Colliers then, and been here for 3 years or so now.
I want to talk a little about Marcus and Millichap, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard they have a pretty unique culture compared to other big, I would say, big name shops. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Like the call tracking and the cubicles and how, I've heard boiler room comparisons before.
It is, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that culture.
It is, but it's a good thing, in my opinion, because it helps create competition. And sometimes, and I think that's also why maybe sometimes they don't keep people there, is because sometimes whenever if you're selling office buildings, they don't have an issue traditionally with hiring somebody else that does exactly what you do and sitting them next to you. And so, but that's just like a boiler room kind of deal. They do call tracking. They would send out our sheets, or they would send everybody a sheet in that office that day of how many calls each person made the day before. They would always have competitions on it. I think it was a good structure because it kept everybody, even if you weren't in our product type, you were doing retail or hotels, we would compete with who can make the most phone calls, who can get the most proposals, who can do this and that. And so it was actually quite collaborative in that aspect. The only time it sometimes didn't, and this happens with any firm, is if you've got people competing for the same deal in the same office, that can get a little tricky. But luckily, when we were there, it was just the best man wins, and we're going to win every time. Obviously, that's what our goal was. But I did enjoy it there. We had good years there. Colliers, Steve Everback at the time, he just offers us a good opportunity to come over and kind of stretch our legs a little bit more, and so that's what we took advantage of.
So, what was like a normal amount of calls to make to win?
So, to keep up, the net lease guys called the most, right? Because literally their phone calls are, hey, you got a Dollar General? You want to sell? No. All right. Hey, you got a Wendy's? No. Screw off. Okay. And so those guys, they could easily do 100 a day.
Yeah.
Very easily. When you get to some of the more sophisticated product types that have a lot more moving parts, like office or hotel,
multi-tenant,
those conversations are a little bit longer. So, there were days that I did, I can tell you numerous times, me and some of my guys were able to hit that 100 number, but it was very rare. But traditionally,
is that per guy?
Per agent, yeah.
Yeah, per agent.
But you got to keep in mind, 100 calls a day doesn't mean you're talking to 100 people a day.
Yeah.
And so we were really probably averaging 40 to 50, 40, 50, 60. And so I like to keep that number. Now it's a little bit different because we have so many clients, we're doing so much stuff. But for the younger guys on our team, they're hovering around that number.
How many people are on your team now?
I think we have 6.
Did you go and work for a senior broker when you went to Marcus, or did you just go over and you were the Cody Payne show right away?
I convinced them that I could run the show. So they said, hey, we'll give you a shot. If you do it, you'll be good to roll. And so that's what I did.
And you were like 30, late 20s for that?
Yeah, I was probably 30 years old or 28, 29. I think I was still in my 20s, actually.
And now your team today, how many people are on it?
We've got 6 and Zoe, so I think we've got a total of 7, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have 6 total, with Amanda. And I think that's a good size team. Are you going to keep scaling?
I don't want to. It's hard enough for me to manage these guys already, and so I already don't have any hair as it is. It keeps receding back monthly. I know.
It keeps going, buddy.
I know, man. I look like Bruce Willis from like the second Die Hard right now, but no, I think we've got a good team. So right now our only goal is to build up anybody who's, trying to get to a certain level. We got to get them to that level, and then we'll just continue to grow as a team. And if we need to add another guy, we can.
That's cool. So what's your secret sauce? Why do people hire you?
I think that there's a lot of reasons why people go with us. We've got a good track record. We've got a lot of good energy. Very hardworking. We're ready to go. We're a fast-moving team. We bring a lot of energy to stuff. We're very creative, innovative. And also, like I said, and I continuously tell my guys this, and you're good at it, is use your personality to get business, right?
Yeah.
You can be the corporate person, and, that will help you with the institutions and people of that nature. But, at the end of the day, we do a lot of private sector stuff, and the best way to get that stuff is for people to like you, right? That's the best way to exceed in sales, is for someone to be comfortable with you. And they're going to be comfortable with a corporate robot. And so, I've always exercised being yourself and just putting yourself out there, and you'll find opportunities, and opportunities will find you. And so that's really what I harp on the guys. And so if I hear someone being too much of a robot with somebody on a call or in person, I just say, hey, man, relax. Give them a little shoulder. Relax, man. Chill out. I hang out with you on the weekends. I wouldn't do that if I didn't like you.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say the other thing is you have a family-like dynamic on your team, which I like to think I have as well.
We're together 24/7 at work, after work, weekends, evenings. Doesn't matter.
I went to a concert with you guys.
Yeah.
The Joshua Ray Walker concert.
Oh, yeah.
Love him.
Yeah. No, that was good. Yeah, we had a couple guys there, but yeah, we are always doing cool stuff like that.
That's awesome. We just had our team dinner last night. And then, I like to do the same thing. So I'm inspired by you. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate it.
Let's see. Do you have a podcast still?
No, so we did one a long time ago, and I was letting the guys kind of run it. It was just the Office Industrial Connection. I guess there's not a lot of people that care to listen to office investing podcasts, and so the guys were kind of doing them here and there. And we started that during COVID, as everybody did, right? When COVID hit, it's like it's podcast time.
Yeah.
But no, I just go on to a lot of people's, when I can. I love talking about what I do and the team, and so we don't have one currently.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Trucking on.
I'd love to do a car one though. I'm a big car guy. I'd love nothing more than to do a car one, but I just got to find the time.
Let's talk about your car habit.
Yeah.
How many cars do you have?
It's a disgusting habit, I'll tell you that. But I think I have 5 right now. I just got rid of one, but I'm a big guy on classic cars. I like classic muscle cars.
It looks like the Corvette you drove here today is a newer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that brand new?
It's a 23. Yeah.
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 I want to get you on camera going when you're leaving, so we can see you peel off.
Let's
into
do
the
it.
sunset.
Yeah. I'll drive it into the neighbor's house.
I love it. And you've put some of my songs in some of your car videos that you make.
I'm actually working on a really good one for my Charger that will have your song on it, and we'll have that video done probably next week, actually.
I'm looking forward to it. Is that Smile? Is that, you asked me. I love that song.
Yeah.
I wrote it. I love it.
I know, right?
I'm my own biggest fan. You and 3 other people have that downloaded.
Yeah, I like that one. So yeah, we're using that one it's just going to be the cars driving in the country, and we're playing that song in the background.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to your younger self?
Just don't take things too personal. I've got a good habit of doing that, and it's very easy to do that and hold a grudge. And you got to keep in mind we're in the business of yes and no's, and you're going to get a little bit of both. And sometimes when you lose, not to take things so personal. But I think I've gotten better over time. But when I was younger, I would dwell on things a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think understanding that, and then also health. Health is huge. I think it was around 2013. I, kind of came across a lot of anxiety and depression that I was dealing with, and actually had to leave the business for a short amount of time. And I was very unhealthy with not just nutrition, but life, and just a lot of things that were going on. Just weren't good for me, and so I had to do a hard reset. Luckily, my parents were there to assist on that, and patched up, good to go, and I've been on a tear ever since.
So how did you get patched up?
Man, just had to reset, I left the business for a very short amount of time. Went and saw several doctors. They tried me on, they'll usually try you on like every medication in the book, and most of them make you feel worse than anything. And so finally found something that kind of corrected the norepinephrine levels in my head a little bit, and started exercising a lot more and eating a little better. And so now I'm a exercise and health nut now. All I do is eat good and exercise, and I don't do it for what a lot of the reasons people do it. I do it because I'm literally terrified to go back to that level, and that's what gets me to stay moving. Is it's not to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything like that. I don't want to go backwards, because remembering what happened then is terrifying to me. And so I got to make sure I stay on top and on par and on the right path. And I've got good people around me, so it's very easy.
Are you a church-going guy, if I recall, or were you?
So I was raised in the Lutheran church.
Yeah.
We went there in Grand Prairie for a long time. I still read and listen to a lot of it. I don't go every Sunday. I was an altar boy for a long time as well. We had a really good pastor there, actually a couple of them. But yeah, my family grew up Lutheran.
Yeah. I've found that's helped me a lot, just spirituality in general. And I've started reading the Bible last year, and I don't go to church. I sometimes I'll take my kids there. I don't have them quite often on Sunday. So if I have them and we have nothing going on, then we'll go. But that's been helpful. I've dealt with the same thing, and I combated it not by going to a doctor, but by drinking for 20 years.
Yeah, that'll help.
And among other things. And I was gonna say, like in the AA days, talking about just taking things personally, or what, and like holding grudges and things like that. In like the AA days, I might still go to an AA meeting this week. Who knows? But in AA, they say like it's when you get mad at someone, a lot of times like alcoholics will go get shit faced to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of like you get mad at someone else and then you go poison yourself, like that is like insanity to go do that. And that's the same. I think holding a grudge is similar to just like getting wasted because you're mad at somebody else. Like, so then they're really getting you even worse, because like holding that negative energy is actually detrimental to yourself,
Oh yeah. No, I choose not to let people live in my head.
I say that because I know that, because I've done that. I mean, I've lived quite a large chunk of my life that way.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. People used to live in my head a lot, and like you said, whenever I came over, a lot of people were saying whatnot about me, and I had a lot of people. I was living rent free in their head, and I enjoyed it for a long time. Some of that real estate I refuse to sell today, as a matter of fact. But no, I actually, driving in the mornings, I still listen to something called Scripture First. It's a Lutheran podcast. I listen to that almost every morning driving in, and that kind of calms the storm that I created in the morning. And then as soon as I get back in, I'm, back at it.
It calms. I read the Bible, and then I've got an app that does like scripture. And now I also read the Tao Te Ching, which is written like 400 BC. And it's this ancient Chinese kind of like, it's kind of like Zen Tao type stuff.
Yeah.
And then all these Zen books too. And I just combine them all. But,
Do you have a Zen garden here?
I would like one. I mean, I feel like my backyard is like it's pretty Zen-like for me. It's pretty chill. It's more like tropical Zen.
Yeah.
So not Japanese. Never been over there. Anyway, so what would you consider to be your greatest failure, and what positive thing did that trigger? We may have already talked about this.
Yeah, I mean, my greatest failure was probably me choosing a relationship that I probably shouldn't have gone in, at some point. And it's, no different than somebody saying, a divorce or something of that nature. At the end of the day, I think it shaped me to be a much better, a much more forward thinker for myself. And so I think it actually helped out quite a bit, because it's only a failure if you don't take anything away from it. And so I believe I took quite a bit away from that. I've lost money. I mean, there's quite a few failures that I've had. Nothing that didn't teach me a good enough or hard enough lesson that I didn't come out a better person.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't really say I have any failures, because I believe I came out on top on all of them.
Respect. I love that. Yeah. I love that philosophy, and I agree with you.
Yeah, just come out on top and you beat it.
Yeah. You can't, what the Tao Te Ching tells you is like you can't have good without bad. It can't exist. You wouldn't know what good is if there was no bad.
Yeah, you wouldn't know how to be happy if you didn't know how to be sad.
Yeah, you don't know what's beautiful if there's nothing that's ugly. Yeah. And that's just how the world works. So
I don't disagree.
Pretty cool. Okay. Moving on to rapid fire round. We discussed this right when you got here, because you saw my cold plunge and you said, I have a cold plunge. So what's your morning ritual? Do you do that in the morning?
Yeah. So I wake up, I fight with the dogs for a little bit. I get my cold plunge. Mine is I still put the ice in it. And so I sit out there for...
You have an ice machine?
Yeah. And
Big ice machine.
Yeah. So I just sit out there for 3, 4, 5 minutes, however long I want to. Because as you know, it's only the first 30 seconds that's brutal.
Mm-hmm. Then
beyond that, you're perfectly fine. And so it's just really getting past that. And so I'll do that. Sometimes I will do that and then work out. Other times I'll do that, hop in the car, and get to work.
Get after it. Right on. Let's see what's next. Favorite hotel?
So anytime I go somewhere, I'm usually just Airbnb-ing it, and I try to find like the coolest place or whatnot. And it usually turns out to be a previous murder scene in some cases, and so
intentionally.
No, unintentionally. No, like I stayed at a
houses?
place out in
Okay,
West
good.
Texas and out in Abilene with my girlfriend, and it looked good online, but I swear it was a halfway house, and I think it was an old abandoned halfway house, if anything, and I mean it looked like Camp Killer for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass on that.
Well, I only stayed there because a review said it was the best bed ever, but the bed was essentially 2x4s. So I think.
Had syringes in it.
Oh, God. It was a bad place. It was a bad place.
What about your favorite restaurant?
So there's a place in Fort Worth called Paloma Suerte.
Tex-Mex?
Pretty much, yeah. And so I like that place a lot. And there's a steakhouse in Weatherford called Fire Oak, as a matter of fact.
Fire Oak.
Yeah.
Cool. I have a client that's moving out to Weatherford. We were just talking about that. It's good. I remember growing up going to Weatherford. It was pretty small, but it's growing quite a bit, right?
Oh, it's yeah. I mean,
so like a
house
full-blown
galore.
kind of like suburb.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You got Walmarts, you got Targets, it's everything out there. But the Fire Oak out
I
there,
drive by it. I've just like never gone in and hung out in Weatherford, so I might have to come to the west side.
There you go, anytime.
When you start the Cody Payne show back
there you go.
Mm-hmm. I'll drive for it. So let's see, what else? What about a book? Are you a big reader other than the good book, which we've already discussed?
So, I will be honest, I don't do a whole lot of reading. When I do, it's usually, I think some of the last books that I read was one of the Grant Cardone 10X books. And then one of Joel Osteen's, I can't remember the title, but it was like Live Better, Look Better, Feel Better. It's more of a feel-good book. And then obviously Grant Cardone's is just how to activate yourself to be the best salesman and the best you can be. And his is good because it's just more motivational than anything. He does it,
You got an audiobook him.
Oh, I did, on Audible. His is very good because he reads it and he's a very good reader.
Chapter 7, don't be a little bitch.
Yeah. Oh, those are my favorite. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I require anyone interviewing for position on my team to read that book.
The 10X rule?
During the interview process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I read it and I was so moved by it. I audiobooked it as well. And I was so moved by it. I just cold called Grant Cardone and asked him to be my coach, basically, like right when I finished it. So he coached me for a year.
I say, because he was on your podcast.
No, I was on his podcast.
Or you on his podcast, sorry. Yeah. And I remember that one. That was a very good one. But yeah, I like Grant Cardone. I like his old school stuff a little bit better. Now he's moved into doing syndications and all sorts of other stuff. He's too big time now. But back then when he had did you ever listen to his, it was like 1 minute. Everybody's got a minute and everybody's got 2 seconds. Here's my 2 cents in 2 minutes or whatever.
I don't remember that.
He used to put those out all the time. And it was just like a 2-minute deal that just kind of would pump you up for the day.
I was never like a huge fan of his, and but I just read the 10X rule, and a week later I'm like in Miami and he's my coach. So then I had this coaching experience, but I never I wasn't like following him for years before I made him my coach. It just happened overnight. And I got to know him on a really cool level, spending basically 12 hours in person with him over the course of that year. And he's an amazing individual for sure.
Oh, he's awesome. There's another guy like him that's an up-and-comer, Andy Elliott. If you haven't seen him,
I haven't.
He's phenomenal.
Check him
I'll
out.
have to send you a couple things.
I like following Grant now, actually, for his children are doing really cool stuff. And the way he's raising his children is pretty interesting. Me as I like to think of myself as not by the book kind of a guy. And I mean, he homeschools his kids, but they're starting their own little things and all about they came out with a book called 10X Kids, and I'm working through that with my daughter right now. And it's very cool new approach because through all of my self-help journey, which began when I was 38 years old. So your age, right?
Yeah.
Older than you or currently. I mean, I didn't ever read a book other than, I don't even know. I didn't read anything.
The menu.
I read liner notes on CDs is the only thing I read.
Yeah.
And I did go to college. Thankfully, it was a great opportunity. I got to go to Brown University for college and everything. After going to high school, obviously. And then I got out and I worked and whatnot. But I mean, I'm telling you, like Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, working with the three of those guys, I learned more from them about business than I learned at Brown. And like those guys are teaching you things, and certainly more than anything that they teach you in high school. So it's like all of this stuff that they're teaching you is not stuff you need to be learning. I made a book list of like 10 books. Like these 10 books are what kids in high school need to learn. And that will teach you everything you actually need to know about life, because all the other, I'm saying like a huge portion of that from my perspective didn't do shit for me. But it was amazing, all of this that I could learn in 5 days with Tony Robbins, and it just blew my mind. Like, why did anyone not tell me all of this stuff about marketing and business operations and wealth creation and how to invest money and taxes? I mean, they're teaching you everything at these conferences that they don't teach you in school. And if you're just a kid that's going to public school and you don't have money to go to college and that's all you got being taught to you by the public school, like I think it's a problem, man. Everybody needs to read the 10X rule when they're in high school. They should, right?
I think so.
Don't you wish you read it in high school?
Yeah. It would have been hard to get my attention to do it, but absolutely. I think that would have, I was a very motivated individual already. I mean, I had a lot to prove, but yeah, I wish I would have read that a long time ago. That was a very good one.
Yeah, and I think that's why what he's doing with his own kids who are like 10 or 12 years old or something, and they are teaching their peers this 10X stuff, because they have obviously grown up on it, so they know it. Of
course.
But it's nice for my 9-year-old daughter to go see a 12-year-old talking about this stuff, and that does pique her interest more than probably if reading the 10X rule to her. So you're exactly right, but there's got to be some like change, in my opinion, on how these kids are being taught in school, because they're learning like basically the same shit that we learned back then, and the world has changed.
I mean, look, just like with anything, and just take fads, for example, like stuff that comes and goes. I mean, stuff like that, I think generally works itself out, and, parents being more active and whatnot is really going to be the biggest key to a lot of what you're saying, I think, is when those kids go home, what they're learning there is just as important. True.
Very true. So moving on, I love just getting into things, if you can't tell. So I appreciate you going
absolutely.
with the flow.
Yeah, I don't even have any kids, but I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, you go for it. You're still young. Okay, what's your favorite quote?
If you don't have enough power, I don't even know my own quote. If you don't have all the power, you have no power.
That is a dominant quote.
Yes.
The Dominator.
And that's written, yes, that's right. That's written on our board at the office.
Love it.
And so, and if you don't, you don't.
I love it. Okay. Who said that quote? Cody Payne?
I heard it a long time ago from someone else, and I said, I'm gonna use that for the rest of my life.
There you go. Unknown. We should just attribute that to you, I think.
Okay, I'll take it.
And let's see, what else? Music. We're both big music fans.
Big country fan. Love country music. Yeah. Love Texas country music.
What song, if you had to pick one song for people to like go check out today when they listen to this?
Shoot, I don't know. On my way here, I was listening to early 2000s alternative, like Papa Roach and stuff like that. So it would really depend on the day. But I mean, if you're doing country music, going with somebody like Shane Smith and the Saints, or a Joshua Ray Walker, somebody that writes their stuff. Sings
Logan
their stuff.
over here, he's like agreeing with you 100%.
Yeah. So you Shane Smith fan? Yeah, another very good. Dolly Shine, like all those guys, Turnpike Troubadours.
Oh yeah, I love Turnpike Troubadours.
Anybody like that is somebody that I generally listen to. And best part about it is we live in Texas, so these guys are always playing here for the most part.
No doubt. Love it. Well, we'll put a link to what song? You want to put a Shane Smith song on there?
Yeah, let's throw Shane Smith on there. We'll figure out a good one.
We'll pick out a song.
Feather in the Wind. We'll use that one.
Feather in the Wind.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Love it. What about a charity that you're passionate about?
So, we've actually done multiple charities at the office, and we were actually trying to create something that we would be a little more directive in giving to, because we do stuff with the YMCA, all the time. We do stuff for Big Brother Big Sister organization. I'd like to do something for mental health, but we just got to figure out exactly the path on doing that. We were actually talking about that the other day and getting that sorted out. But anytime we can give, we do. We give a lot in our time as well. We were all, me and all the guys were out there at the Dallas Special Olympics a while back ago helping out, and so
that's awesome.
We do it as a team. Oh yeah, we do it as a whole team, and we go out there and have a good time.
You got to let me know next thing your team's doing like that. Maybe we can combine the teams.
There you go.
More the merrier.
What's your new team slogan name?
The Deadly Tiger Squad.
The Deadly Tiger Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to think of some kind of competition that we can do, where it's the Deadly Tiger Squad versus the Dominators. And
you are all about the competition. It's like, why don't we just do it together and help everyone?
Why don't we just
wait till you're 45 years old,
okay.
Son?
Yeah, okay. But until then, we'll all grab bats or swords and just figure out who makes it out.
Yeah. Let's do it. We'll fight it out. I'm not going to fight. But I'd love to go do something like that. That sounds cool. I'm going to hit you up right now. I'm chairing the JDRF One Walk for type 1 diabetes, which my daughter has, and that is in November 11th. So I got to start plugging it because I'm in charge. I'll be plugging it a lot on the podcast, and you got to get the Dominators out there.
Yeah, what do you need from me?
Just come walk.
Okay, done.
Raise money as a team.
Done.
See if you can beat my team.
Oh, dude, that's easy. Yeah,
there we go.
We'll knock it out.
There we go.
We'll do it.
Okay. Now, if you had $100 million, what would you invest it in if you had to pick one thing?
So I would invest it into the small, and I think I've talked to you about this before, the small bay flex industrial parks, right? Those things are exploding. Yeah. We're selling those like freaking hotcakes right now. And I mean, we're doing deals anywhere from $1 million up to $100 million on these. And so,
what cap rates are those trading at?
Man, they're all over the place, and especially if you find something that has well below market rents, because the leasability and the releasability on these are fantastic. And it's a product type that inflation hasn't hit as hard. Like office, inflation's been one of the biggest thorn in its side, because your cost of reconstruction for office space when a tenant leaves and comes in is just astronomical. And so the flex industrial side, we've had people leaving office going there. We've been selling to multifamily guys, retail guys, everything.
Paint carpet, and
if that, because a lot of those spaces have one office and the rest is warehouse.
Yeah.
And that is an investment that's going to be very good. And I promise you, institutions will be buying these very small bay products soon enough. And as soon as that happens, the prices will go up even more.
Right on. I'm with you. So if you're going to go start a little investment syndicate, hit me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe in that product type.
Absolutely. We're working on a couple right now, as a matter of fact.
Sweet. Well, let's discuss. And what's number one thing on the 2023 vision board, or have you already accomplished it?
For our team, it is to improve upon last year and to be better versions of ourselves every day. So it's not something that you can accomplish traditionally, because the next day you have to outbeat yourself. And so
do it better.
It's 10 times easier to go backwards than to go forwards in this industry. But it's really just to continue to live up to the Dominator name.
I love it. How often do you communicate with your team? Every day?
Every day.
Do you have an in-person meeting every day or a Zoom meeting every day?
No.
Or are you just randomly talking to everybody?
So I see that, yeah. So we typically all see each other for the most part every day. If not, I talk to them on the phone. But I don't think there's a day that's gone by in a long time that I haven't talked to one of the guys.
Yeah. Now, Grant Cardone gave me shit and said you need to have a sales meeting every day.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, and we started doing it 4 days a week.
Yeah.
We're pretty good. Summer's a little different because I mean, like, summer's just different. But we hit probably like 75% across the year, I would say, doing that. But we do Zoom calls. We don't get together in person.
What do y'all talk about? I mean, is this just a quick little, what are you working on? How do you do better? Or
yeah, we have a format that I developed with my business coach, and it's like someone recite the core values. someone recite the core operating principles. Those two things define the culture of our team and then how our team operates. And then everybody speaks about basically sales activity, new sales activity, and then touch on any deal activity, and takes like 30 minutes typically.
So I need to implement that.
It's like 4 to 4:30 p.m. We don't do Fridays, so you just have Fridays off, and it's good connectivity and kind of keeps the pulse on everything and keeping everybody feeling connected.
I need to do that. We need to recite the core values. We do need to do that because ours is typically, hey, tell me something positive about yourself. And then I'm going to tell you 10 things negative about yourself to bring you back down. And so we got to consistently keep ourselves down. Yes, we got to consistently keep ourselves down to feel like the world is against us. So we work harder.
You're like the Cobra Kai sensei.
Yeah.
Methodology.
It is. And so
Cody Kai.
Pretty much. And so, but no, we do it in a positive manner, but nobody gets a big head on our team, not even me. I mean, they'll cut me down, no problem, as they should.
Yeah, same. Love it.
As they should.
Okay, brother. Well, tell our listeners where to find you.
Man, I've got a awesome YouTube channel, Instagram that we have is, I think it's TX Office Industrial, or you can just look up Cody Payne. And that has a lot of our team stuff on there. It's not just me. It's what are the teams working on. We shoot a lot.
That's your only Instagram, though, right?
It is, yeah. And so we make a lot of short films, usually with some of my classic cars or whatnot, making some little action films, stuff that we like to do on the side. And so
with great soundtracks.
Good soundtracks. I do a lot of the video editing, so if you have a problem with it, you know where to find me. But also LinkedIn, Cody Payne. We do a lot of business on there as well.
Oh yeah. Love following you on both those places, and just thankful to count you as a friend, a colleague, and I know we'll be in this together for a long time, brother.
I appreciate it, man. I'm always a phone call away.
And by the way, you're the first guest other than Grant Cardone that I've be on video. So,
nice.
Congratulations.
Let's see if those cameras are big enough to.
Let's see if they are.
Get these in.
We noted each other's statures, both as getting more svelte than when we met each other.
I wasn't going to tell people that, but yeah, we did. Right when we walked in, we said, "Man, you look pretty good, huh?"
You're looking good. Yeah. Let's go do that cold plunge right now, buddy.
Right?
Together.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thanks for trucking on.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Peace.
I need someone to help me find a brand new attitude. I need someone to lend me a little bit of latitude. I wish someone would tell me what the hell I'm supposed to do. Then the voice in my gut kicked me in the butt and said I'm the only one you need to listen to. Then my soul told me I'm the only one to listen to. And I'm trucking on. And I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line. Another town will do me fine. I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. I tried to run away like a freight train with no track. I tried to escape like a convict leaving Alcatraz. I prayed every day for a cachet I could never have. My bad decisions catalyzed the best ideas I've ever had. Bad decisions catalyzed the best ideas I've ever had. And I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. Move her on down the line. Another town will do me fine. I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on. Yeah. So much shame when I share my little lies. No one left to blame until I stare into these eyes. I'm gonna tell the truth to you till I break on through to the other side. Living like I'm gonna die is the only time I feel alive. Living like I'm gonna die is the only time I feel alive. I'm trucking on. I'm trucking on.